Once you use a needle, going forward, you're never smoking, snorting, drinking again. Everything has to, I put ecstasy in a needle. I found crack eventually later and slammed crack, breaking it down with lemon juice. I've found everything, any kind of drug can probably go into a needle. And that's what you don't realize. That's insane too. Gang member almost playing professional baseball too.
Really?
My first thing ever was crack cocaine.
Wow.
Crack. Like I'm talking like New Jack City crack. Yeah. That's how
crazy.
I jumped into the game. I did not gradually grow into it through like marijuana. I never smoked a cigarette, no alcohol, nothing. I was just straight up. I fell into peer pressure on the wrong night.
Shoot, that's crazy. I have clear sober mind.
Yeah.
Just tried crack.
My friend caught me in the right time. We were a good night with all the homies hanging out together, and he peer pressured me in a car. I'm like, give it to me already. Oh my God, my life was immediately. I'm talking within 1 year, I was barefoot on the corner.
What was that feeling? How old were you?
I was 21 years old.
Oh, so you didn't do any drugs or any substances until 21?
I grew up a pretty successful graffiti artist / gang member selling drugs, running half of my gang as a white boy, to one night falling into peer pressure, crack cocaine, boom, down the dumps within 1 year. I was not reliable. People hated me. I was not trustworthy. I would steal from you, my mom. It was bad. Crack was that bad back in the 90s.
That is
crack
crazy.
Was like our fentanyl.
Right, back then.
Bad thing, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's the
epidemic. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, epidemic. And I have not tried it. Well, that's crazy. And
crack drives the car. It's worse than heroin. You have about 3 to 4 days of enjoyment where you can enjoy it and go home and I'll try it in a couple days. No, after about the 4th, maybe the 5th day, I'll go so far as say every single moment you wake up, you will sell and steal and trade everything you can. I'll trade this table for a $10 piece of crack. Everything has to go for crack. That's how bad it is.
That's crazy.
It takes heroin way out of the game.
And it's like, it's crack cocaine, right? So it's cocaine. It's like that constant fix that you need to
paranoia. It's insane paranoia. Like not like where I was on meth, I was paranoid, like aggressive, thinking you're going to come at me, so I'm going to come at you first. This paranoia is like if you see a shadow, you're scared and you'll hide under a table.
And that was fun.
Obviously. I mean, I spent years destroying my life on it. So
yeah. Now a question I have too, since we're on that, like with paranoia, do you know that you are experiencing that in the moment, or is it very real at that moment? Or are you able to tell yourself like, I'm just tripping right now because of this?
No, I can't tell myself I'm tripping. I think every scenario, it got worse with meth. With meth, whatever scenarios I would make up in my head, I actually started to act them out. Like I was saying, get prepared physically and mentally for things I thought were happening with weapons and shit. With crack, you're just hiding and running from some unseen force that's coming to get you. Mm-hmm. Someone was all like God forbid anybody knows I'm in a motel, a crackhead motel on the host roll in the San Fernando Valley in the middle of winter. Like people really care about me that much that they're going to come kill me because I'm smoking crack, watching porn on a horrible monitor. Yeah. Nobody cared about me that much. Yeah. And that intensified with meth because meth, I'm making up scenarios that the government's after me and they're filming the Truman Show about my life behind my back. But I'm locked in the same hotel watching porn for the 3rd day in a row. And like people, if you were really watching me like my brain thought, you'd probably be laughing. My life was horribly stupid at that point. But I thought I was a star on some unseen program. You know, the Truman Show is like the best concept I can tell someone if they've seen that movie.
The Trippy Show?
The Truman. You ever seen the Truman Show with Jim Carrey? Basis of this movie is he's living in a reality show that he has no idea he's on.
I'm going to have to watch
because if you've ever done drugs, like we've all thought about this, like imagine everything has a monitor and everything's recorded and like you're not living your free life. Like your girlfriend is fake. She's scripted, even though you're having sex with her. Your parents have been picked for you. Like everything's fake. And he's been on this show for years until finally a crack in the dome that he thought was the sky shows. And he's like, what the f? And he finds the camera and now he's aware of it.
Oh my God.
That's the reality that I was living on meth. Meth was turning me violently schizophrenic. I was becoming schizophrenic. My mom told me at the end, I was like 3 days from having a psychological eval team remove me with a SWAT team from her home.
That is crazy. How many days would you stay awake?
Oh, weeks at a time. I picked up a heroin habit because when I started to get to that insane like edge of the world after 3 weeks awake, I would do heroin to calm myself down.
Isn't that crazy? That you find the other drug to balance out.
The extreme opposite.
Crazy.
Which was so dangerous, by the way, too.
Of course.
Because I just would play around with heroin, not knowing, back then heroin was our fentanyl. You could do a point over heroin back in my day and die from it like they do from fentanyl.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when it was pure then, you know? I mean, I remember being that asshole and cutting it, and not even cutting it, selling a pure bag of coffee just so I can get my own fix, and saying, sorry guys,
I've done that. I used to, when I was smoking crack, we'd cut up little macadamia nuts and sell them to the people and get the money, then go buy real crack. Yeah, horrible behavior. God, man, no wonder I got so much bad stuff.
I know. And it's like, at the time I look, and then it's like, I feel bad. I look back and I'm like, damn, that was really up of me. You know, they scrambled all their money just to buy coffee.
Well, because it reminds me of like this. I would go through the most extreme lengths to recycle a bag of cans to get $7.80, and then go hustle $5 at a gas station, and then beg my mom for $12.50 she'd finally give me just to get me away from her. Got a total of $38.12, and then to think that I went through all of that. And then someone else did it. I would steal their money that they hustled for and give them a macadamia nut. And then they actually probably went and smoked that nut. Imagine their reaction when they're blowing out nut smoke. Man, that's so gangster. It's ridiculous. Man, the art of the hustle. You know what? I was talking to someone about what we go through to get high. It's a mission.
It's a mission.
Bro, to hustle to get the drugs. I know. And then to finally, for me, if you'd run out of needles, you'd have to go find a goddamn needle. I would keep a needle for months at a time. Same. Sharpening it on a book of matches. Yes. And then sometimes I'm shooting with a needle that would leave a hole in my arm. God, it would bleed. I have to hold the blood, hoping the drugs don't pour back out. You know what I mean? And then if I finally were lucky enough to get a bag of new needles, they didn't give us needles in my day. You couldn't get them at Walgreens like they get now. A bag of needles to me would be like the holy grail. I would think like I would hold it above my head. I would sleep with it next to me. I would caress it. God, that bag of needles. True. And to think that everything else you went through to get the drugs to put in those needles. I know. It was a chore, dude. It
was a chore. And then the mind that it gave you. Yeah. Like, I remember getting to a point where I was just cooking up water just for the act of it. Like, okay, I don't have anything right now, but it's like, I'm still maybe I'll have something out of the cotton, and it's pure water, but do whatever you can. I had a baggie full of cottons and I'd beat them. I'd save them for those days. But there were times where when we were out, I would do a shot of water from the same spoon, knowing there's nothing in it. Just for some reason, psychologically, my brain would give me about an hour of ease because I did that water shot. Same. Yeah. And then there were times where I would do too much water and it gives you an instant headache. Yep. Yeah. Or I'd give myself cotton fever. That was the worst, dude. Man. Horrible. Thought I was going to die. Yeah. And no matter how much you fixed it, you just had to tough it out. And that's why I say if people, that's why you see so many people in recovery, especially opiate addicts. It's like our minds operate different. Yeah. You use that drive and that hustle that you did to get it. We woke up broke every single morning, not knowing how the hell you were going to get your fix. But for whatever reason, year after year after year, you figure it out one way or another. Me and my sponsor, we were laughing about it on the way up here today. With like you said, the whole hustle to get that stuff, and then if you can apply that to something else, my God, we're the most toughest sons of bitches ever. Recovering addicts. Once you've applied that hustle to getting sober. Bro, I mean, we can accomplish anything. Well, because whatever you want, you're going to get. Oh, I'm going to get it, yeah. Because there was never a day I didn't get dope. I don't give a if I needed dope, I don't care. And the sad thing is none of you mattered but my dope. Mm-hmm. And I would get that dope. If I had to rob from you, steal from you, trick you, lie to you, I could sell ice to Eskimos. Yeah. Yeah. I could recycle cans. I could recycle the cans and steal them back from the recycling plant and then recycle them again. Seriously. I knew what I was doing back then. I could do it to get dope. Yeah. It's sad though. It's like you look, and then I see it. I see it now, and it's like, nothing kills me more than seeing the people that I was running with now on the streets just looked like they've aged 30 years, especially this small little town. It kills me because I'm like, damn. Well, it's funny because I say that about Facebook. My Facebook so my Facebook is different than my Instagram. My Instagram is like, I work in the industry, so I have to keep it open for the public. Anybody can follow me. Facebook, you have to know me physically in real life, and then I'll add you on my Facebook. But a lot of those friends I've had on there are like you just said, like they haven't changed, and yet you see them in their 17th selfie in the bathroom of a hotel for the week, and they're looking like they're 93 years old, and they think they're cute with their filters, and I'm like, God, I see that, and I'm like, bro, like, number one, why are you still on my Facebook? Number two, like, I feel so bad, but maybe sometimes subconsciously I need to see these things to remind me that's how serious the struggle was. I know. Because I did those things. Yeah. I took those selfies in those hotels with my shirt, thinking I'm buff and studly. My tattoos look
back then. My hair had been grown into where it's showing that I'm bald. My collar on my shirt stretched out because I'm sweaty and 80 pounds. But I think I'm a stud.
Yep.
I need to see those things. I think sometimes to subconsciously
know.
remind myself, wow, that's how real it is.
That's how real it is and how thankful we are to get out of it.
Well, and then
we're
it's
trapped.
evolved into this, like we were saying with the fentanyl. I can't relate. I feel bad for these people, but I can't relate to this new behavior. I reached that stage where it's like you don't really hear about heroin addicts or tweakers or coke is still around a little bit, but like for the most part down in LA, my group of addicts have all either they're just you don't hear about it or they've switched into fentanyl now. Yeah. I think a lot of the people that we were using with, they're now on fentanyl because that's pretty much predominant.
Yeah, either now on fentanyl or we lost them.
Yeah.
You know, it's rare that people, you know, that I can be like, man, and have a group of us in recovery and be able to share our stories. I don't have everyone I ran with. That's not the case.
Well, and it's hard because I was sharing on another show. I can't relate to someone's behavior because not that I was the best addict. We're all monsters in our own right.
Yeah.
But I have the decency, if I use that word lightly, to say that growing up throughout the late 80s through the 90s and the early millennium, I had homeboys in my neighborhood, in my area that, man, you're drug addicts or not, you're going to get checked. Your behavior is going to be like, you're going to be accountable for your behavior. You're not pulling up with a tent in front of a school. Like I've seen reports that dudes are walking around naked, they're masturbating, they're doing meth out in the open, they're slamming drugs in front of women and children. Like that behavior, it's not that I can't relate. This makes me sound, people are like, oh, you sound so like, what's the word, arrogant? And I'm like, I'm sorry, but even in my day, my friends would kick my ass. Drug addict or not, the homies would not tolerate you doing that because you're still a representation of my area. I would get up. These guys today have lost all sense of morals, respect for the community. I never did drugs in front of women and children.
Yeah.
My drug behavior was horrible, but I can honestly say I kept my at home, in a car, or off the streets. I don't think I could understand doing it in front of women and kids in a park.
Yeah.
Dude, in LA, we don't even have parks anymore. The parks are all taken over by tents and there's needles everywhere.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I can't relate to that. It's not that I'm better, but I honestly can say that my group didn't do that, so I can't relate to that.
And I wonder, I had went to, where is it? What state was I in? Missouri. And I remember driving with the Uber driver and there was not a single tent, not a single homeless person. I was like, where are the homeless people? Like there's no homeless people on the streets. And he said, no, it's illegal.
Texas is like that too, I think. I've been to Texas 3 times last year. Texas doesn't play that. Yeah.
So wake up, California.
It's California. It's California. I've been to many, like, okay, so where I live, for instance, we live in the Santa Cruz Valley, which is a suburb outside of Los Angeles down in LA. And that city proves, unlike most of the cities in California, they don't tolerate it. They just don't tolerate it. So it shows you that they can stop it when they want. Just like Frisco, when the Chinese dictator came, they cleaned up the city for 4 days.
Right.
They're doing it right now in LA for the Olympics. They're getting ready for the Olympics. So they're going to disrespect all of us. And you're going to tell me that all these outsiders are more important than the people that live here and pay taxes. You're going to clean it up for them to come watch sports, but you can't do it for the people that pay taxes and work here every day? San Francisco did the same thing. How horrible is that?
Horrible. Yeah.
It shows us you can do it. Yeah. If you want.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. You can totally make the change. And I've interviewed a lot of people down, since we're up north in the Tenderloin. And I've asked them and everyone down there, all the volunteers are doing their best. A lot of them are in recovery. They've walked those streets. They're doing everything they can to keep the people safe down there because it's just out of control. Yeah. I mean, I
got a friend down there. I don't know if you follow him. His name is Raw Ricky. RAWRICCI. Look him up when you get a chance. He is huge. He lives in the Tenderloin. He walks around documenting everything, calling out Newsom, calling out those harm reduction groups. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's just bad.
He lives down there.
He lives right in the middle of it.
Is he an addict?
He's a recovering addict. Yeah, I think he drinks, but he's one of those guys. He wasn't really like an addict like I would say me and you are. I think he just like drank or something, but he's sober. He's sober. He doesn't do drugs, nothing. Yeah. But he lives in there. So to him, it's important. It's his community. Wow. He lives there. And he's like, dude, he goes out on his doorstep from his apartment he pays for, and there's tents. And he's like, I don't want it. And it's not like we're anti-homeless, but it's like people that buy homes and have jobs don't want to have to worry about going outside. We should be protected.
Of course.
We shouldn't have to have a homeless person on my doorstep, pooping in my planter, leaving needles in my planter. I shouldn't have to go through that.
Right.
That's not that I'm not sympathetic. I'm actually not. You could say I am. I'm not sympathetic to that. Right. I think it's fair. I never did that being a drug addict. I kept my bullshit at home.
Yeah, agreed. Well, and the thing is, it doesn't need to be that way.
No, it doesn't, because they can stop it. They don't like to arrest people. I hate to say it. Being arrested and held accountable is part of learning and growing. Unless you're held accountable, that's why none of these people have any reason to stop doing drugs.
Agreed. There's no consequences.
There's no consequences. I had consequences. I always had to hide my dope. I used to have to hide bags of dope in my butt cheeks sometimes because if the cops caught me, that's a felony. And I'm going to jail for a year. Yep. I don't want to be off drugs for a year. That's how serious I had to hide drugs. There were times where I hooped a needle, broke it down and made it smaller and protectively hooped it so I wouldn't get arrested. The cops were that brutal in LA back in the day. Now, you would go to jail for 6 months for a nickel of marijuana.
Yeah.
Now you get caught with ounces of drugs. They just don't even arrest you. It's insane.
It's so true.
That's why the streets are like that. There's no consequences.
Yeah, I agree. If they brought it back to where there was, it was a felony and,
I never thought I'd be saying that as an ex-criminal, but I have to agree. Like, that's how I got sober. That's why I started to get scared. You have to learn to get scared, to hide from the cops, to hate the cops, to then understand now, wait a minute, that's why they did that. I would have never be standing here today if those cops didn't do that. If I didn't get arrested in due time, I would have never learned my lesson.
Agreed.
It's part of the process.
I mean, I didn't go to prison, but I was 5 days too long in jail.
Yeah. Well,
scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to, having another girl who's been, a repeat in there for drugs, trying to show me how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich taste better.
Yeah.
I just started crying. I was like,
is there a way to make a peanut butter and jelly taste better?
Yeah, she's like, you warm it up, you do it like this.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her and I just start sobbing. I'm like, I don't want to learn. I don't even want, don't show me, the eyeliner. My mom's like, I was terrified with the way you looked. When she saw me sitting up on the stands.
Like a 1980s chola.
Oh, it was awful. Yeah. Awful. Withdrawing, pale, marks all over my arms. Then they had to put me in the lockdown unit because everyone wanted to call me a rat in the regular pod. So then I got put in lockdown with all these crazy people that are waiting trial for murder. And I was just like losing my mind. I was like,
now times that by 1,000 for the men in the LA County jail system.
No, thanks. I couldn't.
I tell a lot of people, a lot of men, if you could survive the LA County in the 90s, you could probably survive anything. It was that dangerous. My first experience in that place was so scary. I can never forget it.
Was it for drug charges?
Yeah, I got caught with an 8-ball of speed. Remember speed before it was meth? I'm talking old school bathtub peanut butter or pink champagne speed. Yeah. You could do a line or smoke some of this and you're up for 6 weeks. Oh. When meth, there was a time, America, when meth was still good. There was a time where you could do some meth and you had about a good year before you started going insane. I used to have sex for hours. I used to paint the house, redo the roof, work on 7 cars, and just have a great old time. You know what I mean? Then it turned into something weird over the years where or either it turned weird or my brain started evolving to where my brain can't accept it anymore.
It was the drugs. It wasn't you, right?
I mean, it probably was a mixture of both. Because I know that the chemicals have changed over the years that they make. They've outlawed some, changed them, and then they started using like bug spray towards the end. Yeah, they make, from what I hear, meth is now made with Raid bug spray.
Oh, no.
But I used to be able to accomplish all kinds of wonders on some good old speed. And then it evolved weird to where now I'm thinking you're plotting on me and I got a machete in the car waiting for you. It just, there were some good times on meth, I'll say that. A lot more than I had on crack.
Yeah, isn't that crazy that you have to, like, you can actually sit there and admit that there were good times on drugs?
One of the scariest things I realized, I shared on another show. Now, mind you, I say this gently. I got off crack cocaine by letting one of my friends convince me I should try to inject crystal meth. When it had just switched from speed, when glass, remember it was like glass. I don't know what the terms were. Glass. We called it glass in LA. It wasn't no more powder speed. It was actually glass. It looked like pieces of broken window. And my friend's like, look, this new stuff, it's like speed, but it's better. It's called glass, meth, whatever you want to call it, but he called it glass. And he goes, try some of this. This will cure your crack problem. And I'm like, it, why not? At this point, I was so exhausted with cocaine and crack that I was beaten down. I was like at the place where I almost got sober, but like I wasn't obviously ready to quit yet. And I'm like, fuck, anything to keep me from being paranoid, selling all my shit, please. I would like to get high and enjoy it for once. Can I have a few months of enjoying a drug instead of just immediately selling my shoes and stealing from you? So he convinced me to inject meth. I went from being a smoker to an intravenous needle user. He injected meth. My whole life was amazing. It gave me about a year of enjoyment, maybe a year and a half. I mean, like I said, sex was great again. I could now function sexually. I could do chores. I could contribute to a group setting. I could listen to music while I'm working on the car at 3 a.m. and bother my neighbors. You know, I could do so many amazing things in that jump. But to think that the insanity of me being happy that I'm enjoying injecting meth in my arm now.
Because you're not using crack anymore.
Because I'm not hiding in a hotel room, stealing from you, looking like one of those guys from those crackhead movies. I'm not one of those smoker crackheads anymore. So I'm like, wow, now people actually, again, want to hang out with me. You're interested in me. Girls, I can have sex with girls again. Like, I'm not by myself in a hotel room. Like, it's just, it was a different jump to where there was some sort of normal life. But how crazy that sounds now, looking back, like, it actually took me down a scarier place through the years. The meth evolved into heroin in prison because your behavior becomes so just bizarre on meth after a while. You don't realize it's having a longer, slower effect on your brain, where my brain is being turned into a bowl of oatmeal up here. The more, and I'm like, but I inject, I don't smoke, my teeth are good. And you know what I mean? I have all these excuses in my head why I'm a primo user because I inject. I'm in the top of the food chain now.
Yeah.
You know, like,
like you think it's so
I thought
true.
I was like the best of the drug users because I use needles now. You know what I mean? I'm the best.
At the time you think it's cool.
My high is better. Like now, but here's the sad thing. Once you use a needle, going forward, you're never smoking, snorting, drinking again. Everything has to, I put ecstasy in a needle. I found crack eventually later and slammed crack, breaking it down with lemon juice. I've found everything, any kind of drug can probably go into a needle. And that's what you don't realize. That's insane too.
That is insane.
Covered in track marks at all times.
Crazy.
Always having to wear long sleeve shirts, blowing veins left and right.
Even if it was like 90 degrees outside, still wearing a long sleeve
Sweating,
shirt.
I'm wearing a long sleeve. I'm wearing a parka. And a beanie.
Great. That's how you know. It's like, we know what they're on.
Yeah.
Hot summer day, and someone's walking by with the beanie, a long sleeve, and a jacket.
I'm in Walmart for 17 hours straight. I've taken over the arts and craft aisle. You know what I mean? I've got both ends of this aisle cordoned off with shopping carts full of unnecessary arts and crafts I'm never going to do. I mean, who does paint by numbers at the age of almost 30 years old? That's insane. I'm watercoloring dinosaurs for kids. I'm doing all kinds of weird Old ladies are scared to go in the arts and crafts section. You know what I mean? Look at it like me, but imagine I've been up for 2 weeks sweating. I could just terrify you with one look. You know what I mean? I've had this aisle. There was one night I had an aisle taken over at Walmart for like 17 hours. The employees wouldn't even go near. I think the lights turned off in the rest of the store. There's just one light over this aisle I've been on for hours. I don't even know what I'm doing with all these supplies, And I think at the end of when I finally realized I need to get out of here, I bought one marker. Our behavior was so crazy.
So crazy.
Yeah.
So when you went to prison, it was for was it all drug charges?
No, after trying drugs, I stopped selling drugs. I had a really successful drug dealing business. And after peer pressure from one of my gang homeboys, like I said, my behavior declined. I ended up going to jail a few times for drugs. But I was still dabbling in the gang life a little bit. So I went to jail for gang stuff on and off. And drugs were always a part of it. But like, I mean, a couple times for possession of drugs, but like I went to prison for some serious shit. My last time, I went to prison for 19 years, 2 terms. Wow. I went 1 term for 3 years and 6 months. I was home for 90 days. Went back in for 3 years and 8 months. I was home for 98 days. Went in for 12 years and just a couple months short of 13 years. So I say 19 because it's like an accumulation. There was not much time in between. Mm-hmm. The last one was just short of 13 years straight. My goodness. And that was for like a home invasion or robbery over drugs. Mm-hmm. All over drugs. Now, did you use a lot of drugs in there as well? Towards the end I did, yeah. Before I came home, yeah, because I got involved in some that was pretty serious and I just wanted to numb the pain. Yeah. And in jail, there's some meth. We were doing meth, but for us, for the whites in jail, meth is not okay. We're not supposed to be doing it. Because it makes your behavior psycho like it does on the streets. Mm-hmm. Heroin, for some reason, is like tolerated. They love you on heroin because you're calm and you're. Mm-hmm. But I picked up a kind of a serious, more heroin habit and balanced it out when I got home back onto meth. That's crazy. And so when you're always needing a fix, is it just as easy? You feel? No, it's weird. Mentally, like you can come off of drugs easier in jail because it's like your brain knows you don't have access to it. Like I can't just go to the corner and get it from our dealer. Mm-hmm. So it's like you do it when you can. Even if you do a lot for a while, you might get some sort of a come down. You might be strung out a little bit, but you're able to tolerate it easier than when you're at home. It's like we turn into big old babies. Oh, 100%. Yeah. You're dope sick. And the second that you get a text or a call like, hey, come by, I got it. Boom. You feel great. I could even see something. There were times where I tried to clean myself up for a few days and I'd be doing good for 4 days and I'll see something that'll trigger me. Boom, I'm at the dealer's house. Mm-hmm. Before I even know it. That's why the program talks about that. In the book, it talks about, I think it's called The Peculiar Mental Twist. Before you know it, I'm at a bar. Mm-hmm. I told myself I'm drinking milk, but I'm at a bar with a bourbon.
Yep.
And how the did I get here? I'm already 3 bourbons down.
Right.
Don't even know how I got here. That's what was me on meth. Meth for me, I tell this to a lot of people and they don't believe me because I've done meth, coke, crack, ecstasy. I was not an alcoholic. I mean, I consider myself one because I use drugs alcoholically and I know I can't drink to stay sober. But meth for me was the top of the food chain. It was the worst because for some reason I did so much meth that my come down was like coming off heroin. I sweat. I had diarrhea. I couldn't sleep. I would shake. I would itch for more. Like it was worse for me coming off heroin. I don't know why, but the meth kick for me was horrible. And when I got off in 2018, towards the end, the chemicals were constantly changing. And like I said, it was proven some of the dealers were making meth with Raid, bug spray. So like it was getting and evolving worse and worse. And whatever was going on was my head up really bad. Like I told you, my mom was like this close to having me psychologically evacuated, pulled out of her home because I had taken over my mother's brand new $1 million home.
I was gonna say she's probably scared of you.
They stopped coming up the stairs. I turned a $1 million 5.5 bedroom home into a trap house.
Oh my
the
God.
second floor of my mother's newly bought home looked like a subway tunnel in New York. There was graffiti. The staircase was destroyed. I'm tearing down the carpet at 3 a.m. thinking that but in my head, I'm walking around with boxers and boots and I got a tool belt on and a headlamp, tweaking the out all night long, thinking I'm improving her house. And I'm like, Mom, don't worry. I'm upgrading your house.
Oh,
dude, her house looked like a disaster. I
my
destroyed
God.
this house. Neighbors are calling her. That Nextdoor app is going off all the time. The neighbors are complaining. They're making fun of my family on online.
Oh no.
Yeah, I ruined this peaceful community in Santa Clarita. But that's where it took me.
Yeah.
My behavior was so insane.
Do you have siblings too?
I have a brother, but he's been moved out and gone for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He get into drugs too?
My brother's a normie. He could do a line of coke and not touch it for a year. He could smoke a joint here and there, and he's good.
Yeah.
I hate him for that. People like that, dude. You know what I mean? Damn you. Yeah.
And how's your relationship with your family now?
It's good. It's me and my mom are good. Me and my mom are good. She understood. We've done the amends. We're good. We're probably better now. And my dad, it's always going to be strained.
Mm-hmm. And they are together?
Yeah, they're still together.
Oh, wow.
Same house. Now the house is all remodeled and back to normal.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. My dad, there was a night though, like right before I quit, there was a night, and I always tell this story because this is the most important part of my recovery. I hit my dad. I was making up scenarios on meth. My brain was going schizophrenic. So I was starting to assume, like I said, the Truman Show concept, but I was assuming that my dad was having sex with my girlfriend. My brain locked onto this idea. My brain would not entertain that it was false. I keep trying to jump out around the corner thinking I'm going to catch him with my girlfriend. Mind you, my girlfriend has already moved back to my ex-girlfriend, excuse me. I didn't have a girl. I couldn't have a relationship. She had already moved away from my ass to the state of Pennsylvania a long time ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But my brain thinks she's hiding somewhere, hooking up with my father who's old.
Oh my God.
Like, and I'm constantly accusing him. First of all, I never thought about how disrespectful it is to accuse my dad who's married, sitting next to my mom, you're my girlfriend. But one night I hit him from behind. I grabbed my alarm clock and I run down the stairs because I'm like, you know what? This is just it. And I donkey punched my dad with this alarm clock. A 1990s big digital alarm clock we used to have.
Yep.
Hit him with it. Split his head open. And that look, my dad turns around and looks at me with like every look a father could give a son, that anger, embarrassment, hatred, just depression, sad, like all of those things went through his head in one look. And I'm like, I just up.
Yeah.
And I slink back up the stairs into my little cave upstairs that I've ruined this room. Mind you, this room, I've torn down into like the drywall's off the wall, picture graffiti, holes in the wall. There's holes in the wall where I didn't use a sharps container for my needles. The walls are filled with thousands of syringes I've used.
Oh my God.
These walls, if you were to punch them out, would come pouring mountains of syringes that I've been just sitting in these hepatitis C infected, just, you know what I mean, needles full of blood. I could fix, your needles would get clogged. I'd throw full needles full of dope in these walls. Everything weird was in these walls. This room had a mattress. It had a bunch of soiled ass laundry. There was a little monitor at the end of this mattress just on the floor that I was watching porn on a loop rolling. And back then I had a DVD player, so I had stacks of weird porn DVDs. Because I don't know why. When I did meth, I would obsess on sex, and then I'd go out and want to steal and draw on and get violent. I don't know. That's what my little journey took me on every time I did a shot. And so this monitor's looping porn. The bed looks like you peed in it. You probably sweat, you know, like anything weird. And then there's a pile of filthy laundry that I say this seriously. I don't fall asleep or wake up. I pass out and come to. I would pass out on this pile of laundry, wake up, do a shot. And after hitting my dad, I walk back up into this disgusting room that I've destroyed. I sat down and I'm like, man, what the did I just, like, it kind of hits me. You know, like I had like a lucid moment where I kind of sobered up even under the influence. And I'm like, damn, what? And I'm thinking that I'm just going to sit here. Their cops are coming. How could you not call the cops?
Right.
I just split my father's head open with an alarm clock. And I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to do some more drugs until the cops get here. They're coming. They're obviously coming. Well, the sirens never come. They never called the cops. I don't remember if they were, I think my mom might have argued with him. Like, just don't, it's his third strike. I already had 3 strikes. Yeah. I'm home on a Romero Act. If you know what a Romero Act is, when you're in prison, I have 3 strikes. They strike a strike to give me one last ditch of hope to not be life without parole. So I'm already a 3 striker with 1 struck back to 3. So if I go back, I'm
even now.
Yeah, even now, I think. And so I'm in the room waiting for the cops. A couple hours pass, they don't come. And I start thinking about and I start praying. Now, I'm like I said, I'm a white boy. I grew up with Mexicans, but like I believe in Jesus. I don't push it on people, but I know that he died for my sins. And I'm Viking. I have Viking in my history, and I believe in a lot of my Viking heritage as well. I know Christians don't like to hear that, but whatever. I believe in both. I don't give a what anybody says. So I start praying to Odin and Jesus, like, look, I don't know which one of you is real. Mm-hmm. I don't know which one of you is stronger, but for the love of God, please, one of you come get me. I can't do this. And I'm praying. I don't know how to stop. I can't stop. I need help. And I do another shot of dope. And a couple weeks, I think it was about 2 weeks passed by. Now, this is weird. My baggie of meth never ended. Usually, like, because I was in the Navy before my prison time, so I have a pension. No matter what, I have money. I can always sneak out in the middle of the night, get some meth, and sneak back in. Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, my parents have stopped enabling me. They just haven't physically removed me because they're old and they can't, by force, get rid of me. I've taken over their home. They're scared. They're living downstairs in the living room. They don't even go up to their bedroom upstairs. They don't go near the staircase anymore. They light candles and incense and pray over my behavior. You know what I mean? Hoping I don't assault them one night. And so I sneak in and out to get meth. But up until this point, I had a baggie of meth. I'll never forget. It was looked like a 20 baggie of meth. But it lasted. For some reason, it never ended. 2 weeks of me doing this baggie, I'm just doing a shot every day, and a couple of days staying in this room. I'm not leaving at this point because I'm now scared. But I'm praying all day, every day. So one of you guys, Odin, Jesus, please save me. I can't do this anymore. I need help. Someone's got to intervene for me because I don't know how to do it. And on the 14th or 15th day, it was something like that. I remember it was like a 2-week period, but I remember I did a shot of meth and it didn't work. And you know, when you're a junkie and you do a shot and you're not missing, I'm hitting the vein, I'm registering, I'm in the vein, I'm getting it, I'm not getting high. I'm not getting paranoid. And I'm like, that's frustrating. But on this day I did 17 shots back to back, heroin and meth. Nothing has worked. The 17th shot I did on the vein on top of my penis. Because I'm hitting veins thinking, well, it's got to be the vein. Let me try all of them, right? My neck, my arms, my wrists, my tops of my hand. The big vein on my penis was the last one, and it worked. I hit it. I didn't get high. And at this point, I'm irate. I'm pissed. Now you're going to tell me my life sucks and I can't get high? Who the do you guys think you are? You know what I mean? And then I realized, wait a minute. My dumb ass has been praying for this. I've been praying 2 big motherfuckers out in the universe. One of you dudes come save me. And they did. One of them showed up, and I was smart enough I got up and I started crying, and I go to the door of this disgusting dark room that became like the bane of my existence, and I hit the door, and the door's not even connected anymore. It's just leaning up against it. I didn't even realize how much I this room up. The door falls in, and I run to the stairs, and I'm like, Mom, help me, come get me. And it's like my mom knew. She just runs up the stairs, this little lady, and she's like, are you ready? And I'm like, yeah, please, whatever you do. And I'm crying. I said, look, whatever you want me to do, I don't want to go back in that room. Everything I own, burn it. I don't want none of it no more. Please, just get me out of that room. And she goes, all right. And she takes me down. You know that, well, I don't know how houses are up here, but the houses down in LA, they have like this one living room you're not allowed to go in. You know the nice room your parents have with like the nice furniture? There's no TV in this room you sit with guests.
Yeah.
She puts me in this room, buys me a new little TV, gets me a stack of normal DVDs. She's like, listen, just sit here. We're going to get you into rehab. And rehab isn't as easy as people think. They think you just walk in. No, you got to call, check insurance. I got to get on a waiting list just for detox. And she buys me alcohol because she's like, I don't want to encourage this, but you're going to need to drink this because you're going to go through some right now. So I'm drinking alcohol just to keep myself calm.
Your mom's like ready for this day, huh?
She'd been waiting.
Preparing
like Jesus, you know what I mean? Like she'd been prepared. So I'm drinking alcohol. I'm watching Fast and Furious. I'm watching normal TV now. None of this weird porn. No more craziness. And I'm just sitting there drinking alcohol, having a snack here and there, taking naps, waking up, taking naps. And 2 weeks later, she gets me into detox.
Oh my God, 2 weeks like that.
It was like a 2-week waiting list. Mind you, I'm already almost detoxed by my own, but now I kind of like I'm shaking because I'm drinking a lot of alcohol to keep saying. Either way, I did it. I went into the detox. And in LA, you kind of got to lie. You can't say you're on meth. For some reason, they don't detox you on meth. It's weird.
Crazy.
So I have to lie anyway and say I'm an alcoholic and I'm doing pills. So I get into detox. Detox turns into rehab, residential at Tarzana Treatment Center. Residential turns into sober living. Sober living turns into me managing the sober living.
Wow.
And then I work in treatment. I'm bouncing around working all the treatment centers, and I start working modeling for Stolen Clothing. By proxy, this company got me sober. My mom, every Friday, she used to bring me a bag of their clothing because she knew I loved it. And she'd be like, look, can you make it to next Friday? So every Friday I had a bag of Stolen Clothing to put on and like just a little carrot to dangle. Look, just get to next Friday. And every Friday. And I became to look for this.
Wow.
And when I hit 9 months sober, she's like, here's your last bag. Now you got to go do something for me. And I went and brought her a year, and then a year turned into almost next month is about 4 weeks. In 3.5 weeks, I have 6 years.
May, 6 years.
Yeah.
I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And look at life today.
Yeah, life's cool today.
Life's cool.
Yeah, no more crazy paranoia. No more taking over the craft aisle. Yeah. Poor old ladies. I'm sorry to all those old ladies in Walmart.
I know. Have you gone up to your room?
Yeah, it's nice.
It's nice. And
There used to be an energy. When you would hit the top of the stairs, you could feel the evil that was in that room.
Yeah.
And now it's not there at all.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, it's been a pleasure having you on, sharing your story. I mean, our goal is to share as much hope and inspiration to others that are going through it or fresh in recovery and families who are just holding on to every thread of hope that there is.
Yeah.
So thank you. And how do people follow your journey? How do they find you?
You can follow me on Instagram. It's Mohawk Matt _SFV. I believe it's the same on TikTok. I don't really know how to use TikTok that good. I'm still learning, but I have one. Yeah. Instagram's probably the best way. And I respond to all DMs as long as you don't send me nothing weird. And I get some weird stuff, believe it or not. Yeah. I wish it would come from girls, but it doesn't. I get some weird stuff, but I'll answer it anyway, and I'll try to be as polite as I can.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me.